Hello and welcome. It's time to leave the busy day behind. Find your most comfortable spot, get cozy and snuggle down, and let your body begin to relax. Tonight, our journey takes us to the edge of the great wide ocean, where a very special friendship is about to begin. Let your breathing become slow and soft as the gentle sights and sounds of our story carry you away. On a rocky finger of land that pointed out into the great, wide ocean, stood an old lighthouse named Phileas. For 100 years, he had stood strong against the wind and the rain, a silent, steadfast guardian. His job was to cast a warm, golden beam of light across the dark water, a guiding star to keep the sleepy ships safe on their journeys. Every night, without fail, his light would turn, a slow, steady sweep from left to right and back again. It was a rhythmic, peaceful dance he knew by heart. He loved his job, and he knew it was important. But sometimes, as he watched the ships sail away over the horizon, a deep loneliness would settle in his old, stony walls. He had watched the surface of the sea his entire life, but he could only dream of what lay beneath. In his quiet daydreams, he would imagine a world of silent, graceful beauty. He pictured colorful gardens of coral, schools of fish that shimmered like scattered jewels, and ancient, gentle creatures that moved through the water like living lullabies. One night, as his light made its slow, lonely journey across the water, it fell upon something new. Not a ship, but a great, dark shape that had risen silently from the depths. It was a whale, larger than any ship he had ever seen, and her eyes, as she looked at him, were as old and as deep as the sea itself. "Good evening, stone sentinel," a voice rumbled, not through the air, but through the very rock of Phileas's cliff. It was a voice that sounded like the deep, slow turning of the ocean itself. "I have watched your light for many, many years. My name is Coralia. You seem lonely tonight." Phileas was so surprised he almost stopped turning. No one had ever spoken to him before. "I am always lonely," he confessed, his voice a creak of old stone and salt spray. "I watch the great sea every night, but I have never known its secrets. I dream of the world you call home." Coralia's great eyes softened. "If you cannot go to the sea," she rumbled kindly, "then I shall bring the sea to you. Rest your light upon me, old friend, and I will tell you what I have seen. I will be your window into the deep." And so, she began. She told him of the great coral gardens, cities of living color, where tiny, bright fish played hide-and-seek among the branches. She described gardens that glowed with their own soft light in the deepest parts of the ocean, a secret only the sea creatures knew. She spoke of the dance of the jellies, silent, graceful ballerinas of the deep, who trailed ribbons of soft light behind them as they moved. They were the lanterns of the abyssal plain, she said, each one a tiny, floating dream. Phileas listened, completely captivated. His loneliness began to melt away, replaced by a deep sense of wonder. For the first time, he was not just watching the sea, he was a part of its story. He and the great whale shared the night, her stories, filling the quiet spaces between the gentle sweep of his light. Coralia then shared something even more special. She sang. It was a low, long, and beautiful song that vibrated through the water and up into the very stones of Phileas's foundation. It was a song of ancient tides, of sleeping leviathans, and of the deep, peaceful heart of the ocean. She told him stories of the ships that hadn't made it home, but she told them not with sadness, but with peace. She described how the old, sunken wrecks became new homes for 1,000 tiny creatures. their wooden bones becoming beautiful new reefs, a part of the sea's gentle, ever-changing garden. She told him of the playful dolphins, the laughing children of the sea, who would race the fastest currents and leap into the air just for the pure joy of feeling the sun on their skin. Phileas, who had only ever seen ships, was delighted by the thought of such happy sailors. She described the gardens of the eels, who planted themselves in the soft sand and swayed together in the gentle currents. They were a field of sleepy dancers, always moving but never leaving their peaceful, sandy home. She told him of the oldest creature she knew, a giant sea turtle who had been swimming the oceans since before Phileas was even built. The turtle carried the wisdom of 1,000 tides on his back and moved with a slow, steady peace that calmed the very water around him. And so it went, night after night. Coralia would return, and Phileas would greet her with his warm, steady light. Their friendship became a new, secret rhythm of the coast, as constant and as comforting as the turning of the tides. Phileas no longer felt lonely. His light still guided the ships, but now it felt different. It felt full of stories. As his beams swept across the water, he imagined it was not just a light, but a paintbrush, painting Coralia's beautiful tales onto the dark canvas of the sea for the sleeping sailors to dream of. One night, Coralia told him of the tiniest dancers of all, the seahorses. She described how they would hold onto seagrass with their tails and drift in the water's gentle sway, like little chess pieces in a slow, dreamy game. She told him the secret of the pearl how a single grain of sand, through time and patience, could be turned into a beautiful, glowing jewel, hidden away in the quiet safety of an oyster's shell. A treasure made from a tiny irritation. He heard about the great manta rays, the silent, gentle giants who didn't swim, but flew through the water. Their wingspans were as wide as a small boat, and they soared on the deep ocean currents with a grace that took Phileas's breath away. Some nights, Coralia would not tell any stories at all. She would simply float in the calm water, and Phileas would rest his light upon her. They would share the quiet of the night, their friendship needing no words, no songs, no stories. Just being together was enough. But one evening, the wind began to howl, and the sea, which had been so gentle, began to churn. A great storm was rolling in from the far horizon, and the sky grew as dark as the deepest trench in the ocean. This was when Phileas's job was most important. He shone his light with all his might, a desperate, steady beacon in the raging storm, a single point of safety in a world of chaos, searching for any ships that might be lost in the fury. In the churning water below, Coralia rose to the surface. She was not afraid of the storm for herself, but she was worried for the little ships, and for her old, stone friend, who had to face the storm all alone, year after year. Then Phileas's light found it. A small fishing boat, its own lights flickering, tossed about like a toy in the great, angry waves. It was being pushed closer and closer to the treacherous rocks at the base of his cliff. Seeing the danger, Coralia did something incredible. With a powerful sweep of her great tail, she moved through the waves and positioned her enormous body between the little boat and the rocks. She became a living shield, taking the full force of the crashing waves upon her own strong back. And then she sang, not a gentle lullaby, but a deep, powerful, resonant song that cut through the howl of the wind. It was a song of direction, a song that told the sailors, this way, steer this way to safety. Together, they worked in perfect harmony. Phileas's light showed the path, and Coralia's song gave the direction. The light of the land and the voice of the sea, working as one to bring the little ship out of the storm and into safe water. The storm raged for what felt like an eternity, but finally, the wind grew tired and the sea began to calm. The little fishing boat, safe and sound, sailed off towards the harbor. Phileas and Coralia watched it go, two tired heroes resting after their great work. That night, Coralia didn't tell a story of the past. They had created a new story together. A story of courage and friendship, and the power of two very different worlds working as one. Phileas had never felt prouder. His light had always been important, but tonight, he had learned that its true power came not from standing alone, but from shining together with a friend. The loneliness in his stone walls was gone forever. The great ocean settled into a deep, restful sleep. Its anger was spent, and now only a gentle, slow rhythm remained. The shore was sleepy, too. The waves that had crashed and roared were now just gentle whispers, hushing the tired land to sleep. And for the first time, when Phileas dreamed, he did not dream of being somewhere else. He dreamed of being right where he was, a strong, kind lighthouse on a rocky shore, with the best friend a lighthouse could ever ask for, sleeping peacefully in the water below. As the first hint of morning light softened the edge of the sky, Coralia knew it was time for her to return to the deep. She gave her friend Phileas a slow, grateful blink of her great eye, a silent promise to return when night fell again, and then disappeared beneath the waves. Phileas watched her go, his heart full. As the sun rose and his own great light went out, he settled in for his own daytime sleep. The warmth of the morning sun felt like a cozy blanket, and for the first time in a very long time, he did not feel alone, even when his friend was gone. He knew now that his purpose was not just to shine a light, but to be a friend. He was a keeper of stories, a guardian of the coast, and a partner to the great, gentle voice of the sea. He rested through the long, bright day, listening to the cry of the gulls and the warm sea breeze. And all the while, he looked forward to the coming of the night, when his friend would return and their stories would continue. And now, just like Phileas and Coralia, it is time for you to find your own peaceful rest. The day is over, and the quiet, gentle world of dreams is waiting for you. The moon, who had watched the whole heroic rescue, seemed to smile. She cast a special, shimmering path of light across the water, a silver road that connected the deep sea to the steadfast shore. It was her way of saying thank you, a blessing for the two friends who had guarded her ocean so well. The next morning, when the tide pulled back, it left gifts upon the shore for Phileas. A seashell that spiraled like a galaxy, a piece of sea glass worn as smooth as a worry stone, and a starfish that had finished its journey. The sea itself was thanking him, leaving its treasures at his feet. Even the seabirds, who were usually so noisy and busy, seemed to change their tune. They would circle his lantern room and tell him stories of their own of distant shores, of schools of silvery fish they had seen from above, and of the warm currents that promised a good flight. They were his daytime storytellers. Phileas's dreams changed. He no longer dreamed of being a ship, free to roam the sea. Instead, he dreamed of gentle, impossible things. He dreamed of his friend Coralia floating beside him in a sky full of soft clouds, and he dreamed that his own stone base could feel the gentle, rhythmic pulse of the deep ocean currents, connecting him to her even when she was far away. And just as the sun dipped below the horizon and Phileas began his nightly work, his friend returned. Coralia rose from the water, her greeting a low, happy rumble that he felt in his very core. The loneliness of twilight was gone forever, replaced by the quiet joy of reunion. And so their nights continued. Phileas would cast his steady, golden light, a promise of safety for the land. And Coralia would sing her deep, ancient songs, a lullaby of peace for the sea. Together, they created a perfect harmony, a bridge of friendship between two different worlds. The last colors of the day have faded now. The sky has put on its dark, soft, starry pajamas, and the world is growing quiet. It is time to let go of all your thoughts and get ready for a deep and peaceful rest. Let the gentle, rhythmic sound of the ocean waves fill your mind. Imagine them washing onto the shore and pulling all of your busy thoughts back out to sea as they go, leaving only quiet and calm. You can feel your body getting heavier, your breathing getting slower, ... as you drift down, down, down into a wonderful, deep sleep, safe and sound, just like the great whale in her quiet, watery bed. And the little lighthouse watches over you, too, his light a warm, steady promise that you are safe all through the night. He will be here, keeping watch, while you travel to the magical world of dreams. And now, at the edge of the world, two dear friends are at peace. The old lighthouse no longer feels lonely, and the great whale knows she will always have a warm light to welcome her home. The ocean is quiet, and the land is still. I hope you are feeling just as peaceful and ready for your own wonderful dreams. There are so many more stories waiting for us just over the horizon. If you would like to join us for our next journey, you can ask your grown-up to tap the subscribe button so we can all meet again. Until then, sleep well, and may all your dreams be as deep and as beautiful as the sea. Good night.